Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Steve Ritter here. Some thoughts today on sin. And I was reading in the devotional, this Martin Luther devotional here that I got, that Bucky had. And I was reading today, 1 John 3:4. Everyone who sins breaks the law. In fact, sin is lawlessness. And I was reading through this devotional, and I thought Luther had a really good point talking about sin. And when we sin, a lot of times we think about, well, this is certainly something in our own lives and what we do in our own lives, and it only impacts us. And that's not true, really. Things that we do, Paul talked a lot about that, about how all things were lawful to him under the new covenant, but not everything was prudent, not everything was practical. So, eating meat sacrificed to idols, he talked about that, but being sensitive to the fact that even though it might not be sinful and you might not have a problem with it, somebody else might, and we need to think about other people and how our actions affect other people. And I was thinking about that a lot, and I was thinking about sin. And a lot of times we think about that, okay, well, we do something that's sinful, well, that's just on us, and that's between me and God, and we got to work this out or whatever. But what about other people and other family members and neighbors and things like that? How does that affect them? And it really, I'm thinking about that a lot, and it really kind of changed my perspective a lot about sin and things in my own life that I need to get squared away. But I think about that, and in particular, and this is, I flew for the Air Force, was gone a lot, and I think back in my life and all the trips I went on, and I think back, and I was, I guess, a little naive about a lot of the ways of the world, and I think back now through the 2020 hindsight. I'd look back and I see, there were times when I was, being actively propositioned by women, and I, of course, I didn't act on any of it. I never did, and honestly, at the time, it didn't really even hit me that was what was going on. So how naive I was in a lot of the ways. I couldn't imagine that, and it wasn't. I think the thing, looking back over all the years, it's not a sin to be tempted. It's a sin to act on that temptation, and I never did. So if you're waiting for the big reveal, that never happened. But I think back, and the one thing that got me the most, and obviously it was sinful to adultery and all of that. It's sinful. It is, certainly, and it changes things in your heart, acting on something like that. But the thing that got me the most, the thing that was my biggest motivation, was how it would affect Arlene and my children. And I couldn't bear that, and how it would crush my wife, who I love dearly, and what it would do to my children, and what would they think, and how would it affect them for the rest of their life. Here's this person, when you look up to your parents, when you realize they're just humans, they're just people who make mistakes too, but to make those kind of mistakes, to betray somebody who you've pledged your life to, your heart, and to betray them like that, I just couldn't imagine that. And so I guess my point is, in my mind, I'm like, if it was just me, and the sin of adultery or whatever, that I could kind of deal with that and work that out and get past that or whatever. But it's the secondary effect, the second and third order effects that from that sin, how it would affect Arlene, how it would affect my children. That's what you have to think about. You know, when I do things and sin, what are other people thinking? What is that going to do to their lives? You know, as much as the good things that we do inspire other people and mean a lot to other people, how do the bad things that we do, how do they affect other people too? And it's just not to depress you or to get you down or discourage you. If anything, it's to encourage you to think about that and to motivate you to avoid sin like that, because there are second and third order effects to whatever we do. So that's just some thoughts I had today on that. I got from that devotional, and it really, you know, the thought of that with impacting other people, you know, and it really brings it to home. So anyway, I'm really missing Arlene and the kids now. So excited Arlene is coming out next month. They're finally opening up some of the COVID restrictions here in the UAE. So they've done away with the testing now to get between the Emirates, which is nice. They've got a big expo planned up in Dubai, starting I think at the end of this month. And the COVID numbers have been dropping. I think, you know, in a country of 10 million people, they're down to like 500 cases a day now of COVID. So, and 80% of the population's immunized. So it's, I think that we finally, hopefully, turning the corner here, and soon I hope that they do away with the mask mandate. I hope we get past that. But anyway, things are getting better, and hope everything's going well with you all. And I've been very busy at work. It's been nuts this week. We've had a team from St. Louis from Boeing come out and do some work on a simulator, updating the software in the sim. And we've had to stay and help out, make sure it's working right. Buttons light up the way they should and everything else. And so this past week, I've been working real late. I got through one day at 2 a.m. So I go in later, obviously, but 2 a.m, and then it just throws your timing off. So today's rest day for me, just trying to relax. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling now, aren't I? Stay focused, stay on target. So anyway, I hope this is a blessing to you and give you some things to think about. And I hope you have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time.